you're probably wondering why I'm wearing this sash. Well, it's not my birthday. It's not my half birthday. We're making my brother's half birthday cake, so I should be wearing this. It's a girl one. I didn't see any boy ones.
All right. So this, what we're making today is what we call a chocolate chip cookie pudding cake, and this is the cake that is requested by our oldest, Matt.
And he eats it every single year.
This is his half birthday and traditional birthday cake for every year.
Part 1s and part 2s about this cake.
Okay, so there are a couple of different substitutions you could do with this cake. We're going to kind of take the easy way out this time because I ran across some pretty cheap cookie dough mix on my grocery pickup. So we're going to use the package of cookie for our base. If you want to make your own homemade cookies, you could just put some of the dough on the bottom of this pan. So we're going to get that started. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. You want to spray your pan. We're just using a 9x13 inch pan for this. If you're making your own cookies, you want to do the same thing. You want to grease the pan before you put the cookies down.
I thought you didn't want grease because of the cooking.
Well, this is the grease that's going to prevent it from sticking.
Ah.
Okay, so all we're going to do is...
there is in a square.
Yep, we're going to kind of break these up a little bit so that we can spread them all across the pan. Some of the other ingredients you're going to need for this is you need 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. You need an 8-ounce cream cheese, and you need some instant chocolate pudding and instant vanilla pudding mix, or whatever you have. I've mixed different pudding mixes together based on what I have. I use Oreo sometimes, Oreo pudding. In this case today, I realized I didn't have any instant chocolate pudding. So coming to a video near you, Rachel and I made our own homemade chocolate pudding. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of an alteration with that.
Yes, we
too.
taped a video about chocolate pudding, so maybe go check that out.
Right, so we made our own homemade chocolate pudding because I didn't have any instant pudding mix. But this is a much easier recipe if you use instant pudding mix. And you need some milk to mix that pudding mix up with, and you need a big tub of Cool Whip. This is the 16-ounce tub of Cool Whip.
Well, actually today isn't Matt's half birthday, but we're just making the cake.
We're making the cake for it. So we do celebrate half birthdays here, not with presents or anything, but just with cake and singing, a little celebration.
Yeah, we can do it with gifts.
Right.
We just do it with the cake.
Right. Okay, so once your cookie dough is all spread in your pan and your oven is at 375, we're going to bake this for about 10 minutes. Definitely check it though. I would check it at about 8 minutes because you don't want this to get too hard. Otherwise your crust is going to get a little crunchy. So we're going to set this for 8 minutes to check it. All right, in a separate bowl.
I'm going outside.
Okay. You're going to put your 8-ounce cream cheese. It doesn't matter if this is the 3rd less fat or regular cream cheese. I don't think I would use fat-free cream cheese, but the 3rd less fat cream cheese works just fine. You might want to leave this out for a little bit before you mix it so that it comes closer to room temperature. Sometimes cream cheese is a little bit hard to mix. Okay, so all we're going to do is put the cream cheese in a bowl, and our oven's all preheated. And 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. So what we're doing here is kind of creating a cheesecake layer for on top of our cookie. Oops. Okay, so about 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. That's pretty good. Okay. Then you're going to use your hand mixer and whip this up until it's very smooth and consistent. It takes about a minute or so to whip up your cream cheese and your powdered sugar. Now what we're going to do is fold in about 3/4 cup or so of our Cool Whip. Not all of it, because most of this Cool Whip is going to be used to top our cake. So you just want to take a little bit of this, and you will want to make sure that you pull this out ahead of time, because your Cool Whip, you won't be able to work with your Cool Whip if it's frozen. Okay, so I just took about 3/4 of a cup. I took 3 scoops of the Cool Whip, and I'm just going to fold that in with my spatula. Just going to give it a little bit of a sweeter taste for that layer that's going to go right on top of our cookie base. Okay, so you're just going to let that sit aside. If you're doing this all ahead of the cookie, make sure that you put this in the refrigerator if it's sitting out for too long. All right, we're setting that aside. Now you'll need another bowl to put your pudding mixes in. Like I said, I don't have any instant chocolate pudding, but what I would do is put 2 small pudding mixes together in a bowl. So what I'm going to do now today, because we're doing a substitution, is I'm just going to put 1 of the pudding mixes in a bowl and half of the milk that I would use. So you typically need 3 cups of milk and 2 pudding mixes. I'm just going to add 1.5 cups because I'm only doing 1 pudding mix. All right. You'll want to take a whisk and just whisk that together. This will thicken as it stands. All you want to do is whisk it until all of the pudding is incorporated into the milk. Set it aside for a few minutes. It takes about 5 minutes or so for this to thicken. What I'm going to do, because I don't have my chocolate pudding in this, is I'm going to mix in about 2 cups of my chocolate pudding into my vanilla pudding when this sets up. Okay, so we'll let our cookie bake, let our pudding harden, and then we will come back and put this cake together. Well, we baked our cookie for about 9 minutes, and then I pulled it out and let it set on a cooling rack for about 20 minutes. You want this to be pretty cool before you put your cream cheese layer on that. Okay, so remember, in our cream cheese layer, we have 1 8-ounce cream cheese, 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar blended together, and then we folded in about 3/4 cup of Cool Whip. And all you're going to do is just spread this out on top of your cooked cookie base, or crust. All right, and then after you spread that on, then you're going to add the pudding layer. Remember, you have a package of chocolate pudding, vanilla pudding, and 3 cups of milk. That just has to be whisked together. After that layer is on, here's your pudding layer. So this is the 2 pudding mixes, but I did not have chocolate pudding mix, so I had to make my own chocolate pudding. So all I did was...
It was good. We had a little last night with the whipped cream. It was good.
Delicious. So all I did was just mix in some of the chocolate pudding I already had with our vanilla pudding. Okay, so all you're going to do is spread the pudding layer on top of the cheesecake layer. And then your final step is to top all of this with Cool Whip. And then you'll want to put it in the refrigerator and let it set for a few hours. If you don't have time to wait, you can certainly eat it, but it will, it'll set up much nicer if you let it sit in the cold refrigerator for a while. Okay, so now we have the rest of our big tub of Cool Whip. We'll get a new spoon just to kind of eliminate that cross-contamination of colors so that the top of your cake is all white. Alright, so just spread this on. Again, make sure that you pull your Cool Whip out ahead of time so that it has a chance to thaw. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to spread frozen Cool Whip on top of a cake. We sometimes decorate this with some shaved chocolate. Maybe we'll put some Oreo crumbs on top of it. Whatever. You don't have to put anything on top, but you certainly can to spice it up a little bit. All right, and that is all there is to chocolate cookie pudding cake.